You're lucky they didn't wait. You're lucky they didn't wait.
Cheers, man.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see you all again. Love you too. Excited to be here. In case you don't know me and you weren't listening to Jared there, which I do quite a lot, my name's John Crew. I'm the vehicle director.
My name's Ben Curtis. I'm the vehicle art director.
And the clicker is not working.
Oh.
So if you've got technical difficulties...
You have to do a dance, John.
There we go.
There we go. We're good.
Right. So, today we're going to be talking about the vehicles to build your universe. And for those of you that watched the previous presentation, which is awesome about base building and crafting, you should be familiar with the construction grav cart. And you've seen how this works. You might be wondering, well, if I've got this, why do I need some vehicles to do things? I know there's going to be some of you that will be perfectly prepared to go push this thing hundreds of kilometers out of the garages at New Babbage. But realistically, you're going to need a ship to put it in. It can't carry supplies by itself, so you're going to need to put supplies in the ship, move them. And it has small drones. And that's the key aspect there. It has 2 small drones on board. And drones all have sizes.
OK, so, yeah, basically everything you're going to be building in Star Citizen has its size class. A lot of you are familiar with how we class our ships and a lot of other things in our game. So it ranges from small all the way up to large and extra large. And our drones kind of fall into those classes as well. But what does it really mean, the difference between what's a small drone, what's a large drone, what's a larger than large and extra large, and so on? And basically, a medium drone, for example, can build any structure up to a medium size. So it can build smalls, mediums, and it will be able to build small structures faster than what a small drone would. So the size makes difference depending on how big you want to go. But the drones also scale in they scale in numbers. In the one drone can only make one structure at a time. So the grav cart's got 2 drones on it, so it'll be able to create 2 small structures. But a medium, or if you've got a vehicle that carries multiple drones, you can craft a lot more structures, a lot bigger sizes, and that's kind of really the key to kind of like the upgrade path through the kind of drone sizes. So we've had a look at the small. So what's next? What do you want to build? A medium. So I know some of you have already seen it, but this is the CSV from Argo.
So launching today is the very first ground vehicle from Argo, the Construction Support Vehicle, CSV. So this specialized chassis is developed to take on all the conditions on all our planets. It's a little rugged beast that really does just go everywhere. And if you're constructing a new settlement, there's 2 things you need. You need drones to build it, you need supplies to supply the drones to build it. And that's why the CSV comes in 2 variants. So we have the CSV FM, which stands for Fabrication Module. So this has 2 medium drones on board, and we built it to fit in as many vehicles as we could practically get it to fit in. So it fits in vehicles from a Cutlass Black upwards. It's approximately, and everyone always asks me, what ship fits in what, and I lose track of it all the time. It's about the size of a Tumbril Cyclone. So if you can put a Cyclone in a vehicle, you can put one of these in it. Obviously, 2 medium drones on board, and then it has an internal storage tank for resources. So it has a very small version of a freight elevator built into the back of it. So you feed it 1 SCU crates, it absorbs them into the holding tank on board, and then the drones will come back to the vehicle to refill. And it also has a size 0 serial generator on board for a bit of added protection. What happens when you run out of resources? This is where the CSV SM for supply model comes in. So the second CSV-based vehicle in the game, and this has a traditional 4 SCU cargo grid on the back. So 4 1 SCU boxes, 2 2 SCU boxes, 1 4 SCU box. Depending on what you buy, you can use this to bring it and move it around. So this is the perfect companion vehicle to the CSV-FM. Said that. Shield generator as well. Moves about 28 meters a second. My brain is fried. I can't remember what that is in miles per hour or kilometers per hour. And it is available right now to drive in SC Alpha 324.2. Available at playerc.csv. So now, let's take a little closer look at the vehicle, and Ben's going to go through it.
Okay, so what we're seeing here is the in-game version of the CSV. It's complete with its 4 SCU of cargo up on the rear. And I think the CSV kind of really builds on what Argo is known for as a manufacturer. It's got those kind of like really kind of hard industrial looks, and I think it helps it kind of feel at home on any build site. All of its components are easily accessible. And I think the exterior is like real dominating factor. It's those kind of large all-terrain wheels, and then that's kind of backed up by just simple, smooth, sleek lines. We've got the front-loading cab that puts all the controls kind of right in the kind of where the player needs them. And I think that's one of the keys to the ship as a whole, or the vehicle as a whole, sorry, is it's simple, it's purposeful, it's functional, and I think that just kind of just helps it to kind of feel part of that Argo family. But what if you want to go bigger?
Bigger?
Bigger. Okay. So, introducing the Starlancer family. So, the Starlancer is basically a whole new family of vehicles, from MISC, and these are covering a range of different roles. Today, we're going to be talking about the first three, which are the build, which kind of makes sense, and that basically is for all your large structural construction needs. We have the TAC, which is going to be for people that want a little bit more defensive or offensive excursions in our universe. And then we have the MAX, which is a dedicated hauler, but it can still pack a bit of a punch. So we're going to take a bit of a closer look at all of them today. We're going to start off with the build.
So this is the Starlancer build from the outside. The key thing to take away here is you'll see it has the drone bays on each side, and then it has the drone resupply arms for allowing the drones to come back and resupply. Inside that room, you have the drone control center. So you have a single station inside, and this is where you control all your drones from, much like Luke showed you in the previous presentation. So there are 2 large drones held on each side of the room, so 4 large drones in total. And then there are 2 filler stations right at the front here, and these each hold 16 SCU of capacity, which can then go and load the internal resource tank to feed the drones. Drones will then be deployed out of their little secret garages, and they go off and do what you've asked them to do. When they need to resupply, they'll come back, sit on these arms, suck up their resources that they need, carry on their day. That's the really important thing here, is that all these base building vehicles have enough storage on board to supply your drones. Obviously, if you're going to build a million things on your base, you're going to run out. But we want you to be able to have these vehicles and have knowledge that you're not going to be doing endless cargo runs initially to build your foundation of your base. You'll be able to build your base and have storage on that eventually, but these all get you going in the short term. So let's have a quick go over the stats. It holds 4 large construction drones. It's 83 meters long, 52 meters wide, 15 tall. Saw lots of rumors and chatters that people thought this was Freelancer size. It is not. It is significantly larger than the Constellation and Corsair. It's almost 600i in size, so it is a big ship. 2 S4 guns for the pilots, 16 missiles, remote turrets, and then 128 SU of cargo capacity in the build specifically. But what if you don't want to build stuff? What if, like me, you just want to burn stuff and destroy stuff?
So introducing the Starlancer attack. So like I say, this is designed to be a bit more aggression into the verse. So I think the first thing you're going to notice is the kind of the dual manned size 5 turrets. Now these give much, much better kind of broadside coverage from any of the other variants. And then on top, we also have like a dedicated hangar that has been specifically designed to fit a Mirai Fury inside. And I'm sure we will see plenty of other ships try to be fitted inside.
Successful
yeah,
or not.
yeah, we'll see. And I think John's going to run you through the interior now.
So yeah, let's have a look over the tack from outside to in. So this is the tack in its default paint, so sort of military drab gray. Then internally, obviously Ben talked about the size 5 turrets. Then we have some drop seats behind, and these are on a deployable ramp, so you can do some ground assault. They will drop out, down. If you're doing a bit of ground assault, chances are someone's probably going to get injured, so there is an onboard medical facility directly behind there with 2 Tier 3 medical beds. Upstairs, obviously, there is the Fury hangar. Behind that is engineering. And then forward of the hangar is the refactored habitation and mess hall area, which is specific to the TAC, just because there's so much other stuff crammed in there. We had to redo the upstairs of it, basically, to fit that in. And we'll go over the more normal layout shortly.
OK, so yeah, to sum up, I think the TAC's obviously going to bring a lot more firepower from the other variants. Its shield's been boosted up to two size 3 shield generators. It's got the med bay with the tier 3 med beds, drop seats, it's got the hangar, and it's still able to carry up to 96 STU of cargo. And you can secure yours today by going to play.sc/Starlance attack.
Built for life.
OK, so I think you kind of hopefully agree that was a pretty great kind of trailer for the Starlancer Max. And as you can kind of see, we're just putting the finishing touches on that now. So yeah, we're just getting it all done, all ready for its launch at IAE. We will take a little bit of a closer look at it now. I think the Starlancer kind of really fully encapsulates MISC's kind of ability to create beautiful ships. It's got this bulbous design that really helps to kind of convey its underlying structure and its underlying strength. I think when the engineers were trying to kind of put this together, they were thinking about what's useful, what's great, and one of the things that we thought about was this deployable cargo grid that just brings the cargo down to the ground, makes it much easier for loading and unloading. And they also wanted to put the kind of the crew, they wanted to put what was important for them. So they've added a lot of windows out so the crew can see out into the verse, and it's one of the things that we know people like, is being able to have these kind of little windows out into space. And then above the kind of main habitation area, we've got these big skylights, and they just allow kind of like more natural light to cast down into the cruise area. For a bit more protection, you've got 8 size 3 missiles up front, and then a further 8 on top. And these are backed up by a set of size 4 remote turrets, both front and rear, that give good topside coverage. And then finally, when we get to the front, you'll see we have a further set of size 4 gimbaled weapons. And again, these just kind of help to fill in those blind spots. I think as a whole, the engineers or MISC have done an exceptional job in creating a vehicle that kind of fully encapsulates the functionality needed, while still ensuring that the crew's kind of well-being and livelihood is protected. It's all in a package that kind of really dominates the sky, and I think it really shows off MISC's ability to deliver kind of quite beautiful ships.
Right, so don't worry, this is not an Origin 404 moment happening here. So let's have a look inside the Starlancer Max now. So, love it or hate it, we love it. The MISC traditional letterbox view is back. At the front of the ship, you have the pilot, co-pilot seat with 2 support stations at the rear. These are the ones that control the remote turrets by default. Then behind that, we have the escape pod room. 4 escape pods, full crew. And then behind that, we have the traversal. It's sort of a traversal room. It has a lift, goes between the 2 floors of this ship and goes to the exterior of the ship. And then a ladder for emergency backup. Behind that is the mess hall area, so nice shared communal space for you to relax with your crew. And then we move into the 4 individual crew rooms, each with double beds, so very luxurious for a spaceship, en suites for all. At the rear of this section, we have a further 2 lifts. These are just internal to go between the 2 decks of the ship. Then at the rear, we have the main engineering. So there are some components dotted around throughout the rest of the ship, but the bulk of your components and the engineering terminal are here at the rear of the ship. So that's upstairs. Let's go downstairs a little bit. We have the main vehicle entrance and cargo entrance for the rear section. This can be used as a garage, but it is also a cargo hold. Can fit vehicles up to a Ursa rover in size in here. And then on the Max, we have, as you saw in the trailer, it's sort of 1 cargo lift that drops down, but it retains a walkway throughout the center of the ship. So regardless of whether your cargo is up, down, being loaded, you still have traversal front to back of the ship. Then we have the downstairs of the traversal room, which also features the airlock onto the ship. And then lastly, we have the armory at the front of the ship. So if you're coming on board, leaving via EVA, leaving via that front entrance to the ground, you can stop off here, suit up, get your weapons, do the reverse coming back. And that is the Starlancer Max. So we'll quickly recap the stats. 224 SU of cargo, 128 on that ventral drop platform, 96 in the rear cargo area. It has 6 extra VTOL thrusters for all that extra mass that it's hauling. And it is available to pre-order now and will be flyable this IE at play.se Starlancer Max. And if you pre-order now before IE, you will get this exclusive sapphire paint, which is in the Citizen colors and looks super cool in my opinion. So, we have talked small drones, medium drones, large drones. What about bigger things? So, who can guess what that is? So, I talked to you all quite some time ago about this in Germany. And this is obviously the original concept for the Pioneer. Now, some time has passed, and whilst the core concepts of base building have remained the same at a high level, how you physically build your bases has changed slightly. So Back then, you were building everything on board the ship here. You would fly your Pioneer. This is the area I want to build in. I'm going to build my base on board the ship, and I'm going to drop it down. As you've seen, bases are a lot more expansive now. This doesn't work anymore. So we need to do a little bit of some reconcepting.
OK, so one of the first things we really wanted to kind of solve was the arm. We know a lot more about how we're going to be constructing these structures now, and kind of the arm didn't really make a lot of sense anymore. All it really did was it made the space you need to land the ship almost twice as big as what it's kind of needed. And we're not real spaceship engineers. We don't make real spaceships. But what we do try and do a lot of the time is we try and take as much reference from kind of real life manufacturing as we possibly can. And I think that's really it's really key to what I think Star Citizen is as a whole across like all the different departments. In that we're trying to make a believable universe. And if you think about the arm, and whilst I can't deny it's a cool idea, I think really from a manufacturing point of view, all it really does is it adds a lot of complication and a lot of manufacturing costs onto what is already a very advanced, very large, very costly ship to make. So that was kind of like one of the kind of real first things we wanted to do. The second thing we wanted to look at was kind of have a little bit of a shift around of kind of like the egress points on the ship. The cargo position has moved, so we needed to kind of update that. We wanted to make sure that the landing pad made sense and had space to kind of come into the ship. And then we also needed a way of getting things out of the ship that we will be crafting. On top of that, we had a few other goals. Like I say, it needs to support all the updated kind of building mechanics. It needs to support all our current metrics, and I don't mean just character metrics. I mean all metrics, because we're going to be creating a lot of things inside this ship. We wanted it to kind of become a true self-sustained mobile base. We wanted it to kind of be kind of like the cornerstone of your crafting and construction ventures. And to do that, we needed to add a few extra kind of onboard facilities. So a med bay, like I say, the crafting area, the ability to refine or extract and refine materials.
So let's have a quick look over the updated interior of the Pioneer. So at the back of the ship, we have the classic bridge, looks out over the expanse of the ship. And then top and bottom of that in this image, we have the escape pod rooms. And then leading off those is the access to the manned turrets that remain. Then going downstairs, we have the cargo area at the top. Doesn't look like a lot. That's 1,000 SEU of cargo now in that space. Next to that is the fabrication control room. This is where you'll be fabricating larger vehicles and ships, as well as smaller fabrication machines next door for. You don't want to use this to build a small FPS weapon. It's a bit overkill, so we have that on board as well. In the center of the ship, we have a small fabrication hangar with roof and ramp egress. So if you're building a small ship on board, so things like a Nomad, you can build on board here. You'll be able to fly it out the roof of the fabrication hangar. And then we have the existing small landing pad that transitions from outside the ship to inside the ship. So cargo you can load via new entrance that Ben's going to talk about in a second, but you can still retain the ability to land a ship on top of this ship, move it inside your ship, all those things. Engineering at the rear, this is now capital components all the way around. It was a weird mix of size 3s before. It's now just all capital everything. Then we have the habitation, mess hall, medical area between the hangar and engineering. And then at the front, we have 4 extra large drones in the drone room. But we don't just have some pictures like this to show you. Ben's going to go through this in a bit more detail now.
OK, yeah, so we're going to have a little look at kind of like the concept and where it's at on the interior. We start out on the interior bridge. It's very spacious, or command deck bridge, whatever you want to call it. It gives kind of really nice views out over the front of the ship. And right up front, you've got all the consoles required that you need to kind of control the ship. as well as the kind of additional remote turret access consoles. And then at the rear, we have the main kind of navigation components and some small engineering consoles. And kind of flanking either side, we've got these two corridors, and they lead out to the manned turrets that kind of sit above the bridge. And they also have all the escape pods needed for all the bridge crew. Like I say, we want this to kind of be a home away from home, so we have a very large, comfortable habitation area. Each of the crew members, they get their own individual crew pod. And one of the nice things about this is these actually open up, and they allow kind of each crew member to kind of decide like how much privacy they actually want. This is the crafting area. We've got the 4 kind of crafting machines. And these are right next to the cargo bay, the internal cargo bay. And as John says, this holds up to 1,000 SEU of cargo, so it's pretty sizable. To make it a little bit easier, it's got its own dedicated cargo lift at the back that, again, just simplifies that kind of getting cargo in and out of the vehicle. Down at the front, we have the drone room. Now, these will be 4 extra large drones, so they'll be able to craft our largest structures in game. They exit the ship out through the roof, and they're all controlled by the construction console in this area. And finally, we're just going to take a quick look at the crafting area on the ship. So you can see here we've got these blast shields down that kind of protect the crew in this area from what's going on inside. And then as these open up, we just finished making a storm. And as we see, there's a ramp that leads out, so you can drive any ground vehicles straight out the front, between all the landing gear, and you get this really nice kind of like sense of scale as you're driving underneath out the front of the ship. And we've also got the top exit for any flight vehicles. And then finally, we have the landing pad, and this just allows us for any ships that land up on deck, we can just bring them down into the belly of the ship.
So that's the Pioneer. It's had quite the glow up over the years. Holds 4 extra large drones. And if you're interested in finding out what extra large drones can build, I highly recommend sticking around for the next presentation. It's about 20% bigger. I know the jokes, we always make ships bigger, but to fit all that in, it needed it. It can craft small ships and vehicles. And one thing we didn't show in that video is the landing gear actually have integrated ground resource extractors in. So when you find your plot, you land your ship and you can start extracting the resources from it. Capital components all round, and now it has 1,000 SU of cargo capacity. Now the bad news. When base building comes out, this will not be there day 1 of it. But we are starting this in the next week or 2, so it is in production very soon. So, to finish up, we'll do the classic one last thing. CitizenCon is usually about looking forwards, but we'll do some housekeeping and look at the now and a bit before. So, oh, sorry, this is Ben.
Yeah, so you remember last year we teased these 10 vehicle silhouettes. Now, these were vehicles that we were planning on working on this year, and we've not quite delivered all of them yet this year. But we did come quite close. So far we've delivered 6. We've delivered the Pulse, the X1, the Medvac, the Argo and PUV 1T, the RSI Zeus, and the rework on the Retaliator. Oh, but what about the rest? Sorry. So,
all but one of these will be released before the end of the year. So the Legionnaire is the one that's going to miss out. And that's because we want to align it with hacking gameplay. But the rest will be here before the end of the year. So, Crusader Intrepid, Mariah Guardian, and the Polaris. So, we have a few patches between where I am today, standing on stage, and the end of the year. But let's start with some things that you're going to see at IEE.
Okay. So on top of those ships we've talked about, we also worked on a number of other ships this year. So we're just going to quickly go through them before we get on to what we're doing next. So we delivered the Sulen, the Storm, the Cutter Rambler, the F7A and F7C Mark IIs. So I always get tongue-twisted with these. And the F7A Mark Is.
Then we also did the Santok EI, the Sabre Firebird, the Peregrine, and then most recently, the Argo Atlas. So, like last year, where we did a little tease, can't just leave without teasing a little bit more. So let's have a quick look at just some, emphasis on some, of the vehicles that we're working on in the next 12 months. So, I just want to say a big thank you to all of you, and a big thank you to all the vehicle team in all the studios around the globe. They give us all this really cool stuff that we can get to stand on stage and talk to you guys about. Some of them are probably hiding at the back, but I just want to say a big thank you to you all, especially for all the hard work on these recent ships.
Yeah. Massive, massive thank you to everyone involved in putting these vehicles together.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.